Moving onward to our next session, optimizing customer experience through 360-degree digital transformation, collaboration between humans and machines. Introducing our thought leader, Mr. Ganesh Mahadevan, Director, Chief Data and Insights Officer, and Head of Digital Transformation at Bosch India. Mr. Mahadevan is an executive leader with 16 years of experience in strategy, pre-sales, sales, development, innovation, and consulting in digital and emerging technologies. He drives exponential growth through visionary leadership, technology expertise, and strategic thinking, maximizing organizational value and unlocking potential. Welcoming Mr. Ganesh Mahadevan.
Good morning. Am I audible? So all he said is, I don't know it's true or false, but let's see what I can maximize the value to all of you here for the next 10, 15 minutes. So is 360-degree digital transformation possible? Yes or no? Really? Yeah, it's a journey. I don't think it's that easy because more than digital transformation, it's cultural transformation. So, of course, I represent Bosch, BGSW. Of course, I can't share much of the confidential information, but let me see how can I add value, and I don't have any slides. So I think I have some notes to start with, but let's talk about the basics of customer experience, right? So customer experience is all about somebody is there to pay, number one. And let's get into this for a few seconds, right? In the journey of demand to cash and post-sales. In the journey of demand to cash, right, or opportunity to cash, right? So where all customer experience can enhance. The very first is capturing on what is the need of a customer, right? That's a very important aspect to start with. But somebody is there to pay and why they should pay. I think there was a very relevant question from one of the gentlemen out there. Is it personalized thing intimidative, right? That's your question, right? Let's get into the three aspects of buying pattern, right? So one is called straight buy, second is modified buy, third is new buy. These are the three types of sales it can happen in customers, right? Straight buy is transactional. For example, if I want a term insurance policy, right? Till 85 years I want to buy, and it's a straight buy. Modified buy and new buy. I think that's where the sales cycle is quite costly, if you see it. Straight buy is transactional. Modified buy and new buy is collaborative. And which is more complex, straight buy or the other two buy? Other two buys. You're all with me? Yes. So if the other two buy is complex, and that's why we need sales, right? If I just want to open a bank account, or if I just want to buy a digital combustion engine, right? It cannot be a straight buy. It needs a lot of process, it needs knowledge, it needs scientific thinking, it needs engagement, it needs specification, it needs a lot of conversation between the parties among the stakeholders, right? Straight buy, the key aspects of customer experience today, right? Be it B2B, be it B2C. Let me focus on B2B because I don't have much experience on B2C, right? So B2B, if you take it, typical sales cycle takes how many months? Exactly. Months to years, right? If it is a simple buy, then the value or the volume will not be much and you will have a lot of suppliers. If it is a new buy and a modified buy, that's where the value and volume is huge and you have limited suppliers, right? So according to me, I'm going to focus on the right side. I'm not going to focus on the left side where you have more suppliers and less stakeholders, right? I think the complexity comes on the right side. So how can digital transformation help there in the B2B, in the area of opportunity to cash and post-cash, right? Sales. That's the area I just wanted to focus. I'm going to share my expertise, my experience here with you, and what we have done in the organization and beyond Bosch, because I have been in sales, I've been in pre-sales, and from there I came to Bosch. Right, I'm going to touch upon all my experience and see how we digitalized the journey of customer engagement. So the very first aspect that we are talking, that experience economy, right? We are all in experience economy. Having said that, how can we really enhance experience and capture as much as information? Do you all believe that any B2B sales is about information asymmetry? Information asymmetry? Because information, you don't have enough information about the sales. Do you all agree to this point? And there exists a lot of information asymmetry. And as the gentleman rightly mentioned, nobody is going to share your data when you ask, right? So that means it's no more transactional, right? You're going to ask, I'm going to give, and you're going to pay, I'm going to proceed with the PO or you're going to collect the invoice. It's not that simple. So how we are going to reduce the information asymmetry is the very first part of the customer engagement. And it can start from any part of the sales cycle, right? And there are a lot of tools here today which can enhance. And let's talk about HMI later. Let's talk about the very first part where the human is involved at the very first part of the cycle. The very first part of the cycle, in my experience, is the pain points, the requirement, and something which we don't know what the customer wants, right? A very famous statement of Henry Ford. If Henry Ford were to ask the customers, what do they need? The customers would have told, I need horses with more power and with more speed. That would have been the ask from the customer, right? Henry Ford would not have been successful, right? Thanks to him, who understood the customer pulse, right? He had more information about the customer than the customers themselves had, right? The very first part is that I would like to call it as information asymmetry. Sometimes the customer may not know what he or she wants, right? How we are going to enable digital transformation to seek the very first ask about how can I probe customer and get as much as information, number one. But information is the lowest order to start with. The second part is, of course, we all speak about design thinking. The second part is, how can I enhance that information to know more about customers than the customers know about themselves, right? And that's where the stakeholder matrix comes in. It is not a very straightforward binary conversation, right? That's where the human-machine interface comes in to start with. And number three, once you get that, right, there comes the tools and ecosystem. Of course, you have so many tools in the market. Starbucks uses Qualtrics to track about what customer wants post-sales, right? Even at the time of the customer entry. Starbucks is very one example which is close to my heart, right? Anytime I visit Starbucks, they have, and it is consistent, number one. Number two, they know exactly what I want because of the predetermined factors that I have taken in the past, right? That is one example where Qualtrics has really optimized their customer experience. And of course, it is one example from a retail standpoint. It is B2C, right? Let's go to B2B, for instance. Somebody spoke about car. Is it car, in your experience, right? I'm just talking about B2C again. Is it a straight buy? Lot of specification, lot of complexities. And it's very difficult for any car manufacturer or the car dealership to get as much as information from my side. And there are plenty of tools. And even today, there is a company called Techion, which is completely in cloud-based sales of car, right? Which is one of the fastest unicorn. And we are talking about that. Is it that simple? And can we have any tools to capture that much of information that one needs to buy for a car? I don't think so, right? And that's where, as somebody mentioned, the previous speaker mentioned, it's a journey. That's where we need to be very clear what are the limitations of the digital transformation can bring in. And that's where the human, or you can call it as XAI, right? The combination of human and artificial intelligence which can come and at least felicitate. The very first part to start with, right? Requirements, pain points, and information as much as possible. And the second part is how that information cascades to the respective stakeholders. I might be the entry salesperson, and the second might be the product, and third might be the R&D, and fourth might be the production unit, and fifth might be the project, the respective part, and last but not the least is the relationship manager, who is the horizontal of this. How this information is cascaded consistently across without having human dependency, right? That's where, of course, you have experience platforms. I think there are a lot of experience platforms today, from Salesforce to SAP to Zoho to whatnot, right? There are so many CRM suites, there are so many CX suites coming in, but CRM is just the entry point of digital transformation. If somebody says, I have a CRM, we just started the journey, right? It's not the end of it. And then comes the second part of the value chain, which is the production, right? Post the sales happens. And that's where you have huge data. In digital manufacturing, you know, right? You have SCADA, you have PLC, you have a lot of machine data coming in. How you are making a consistent experience, not only from the sales process, but on the production process, right? So if you take the pyramid, the operational part of the users, strategic and tactical, tactical and strategic, we're all focusing on strategy and tactical, but there is a huge value in the operational part. So the digital transformation has to be consistent from strategy till operations. Of course, you might need 5 tools, 10 tools, that's different. But the process mindset one needs to have when we define a strategy should start from strategy to operations, right? That's the most important part in digital transformation. Digital transformation doesn't fail in strategy. Digital transformation fail in execution. And mainly in customer experience, it's a consistent behavior is extremely important, what the customer gets from day 0 till the last day of the transaction or the sales cycle, right? So my learning is, we all have wonderful strategy, and we all start fast in the way we capture the data from the customer entry point, but the consistency till the execution, till the last mile, is where digital transformation plays an important role. And we need to be people agnostic, right? We can't have people dependency. I think one spoke about, the previous speaker also mentioned about how can we have consistent experience to the customer when we step into every part of the meeting. And that's where I think it's extremely important to capture all the information about the customer, not only in the respective cycle, but on every meeting aspects. And today, we're talking about a lot of tools. Salesforce has a seamless integration of the calendar of Outlook, and with the Microsoft Copilot, we can even capture all the notes of that particular meeting that is happening virtual, right? So with that, can we capture as much as information about a customer, what he says, what he or she says, what he or she doesn't say, from the pain point to the requirement to the purchase process, right? So that's the second part of the digital transformation. And third is important on the transactions. We can't eliminate transactions and operations. So in the digital transformation, as I spoke about production, after production, what happens? Sale order, invoice has to be raised, then accounts receivable, accounts payable process comes in, right? And the milestone-based billing comes in. So how we are enhancing those transactions into customer experience? Have we delivered what we promised? Second, post-sales, have we given enough support from the entire value chain? Is something where AI is really going to help, because that's where the operations has to be successfully rendered till the last mile. I'm talking about the last mile problem, I'm not talking about the first mile problem, because first mile problem the industry has solved in B2B from digital transformation. I think we are talking about the last mile problem. And this is where I think the only one sector which has really optimized well is insurance sector. If you see it, right, the conversational AI is the highest in B2C segment in insurance sector, where I think we are all experiencing a lot of conversational AI coming in. Of course, there are a lot of tools like LOAI and other Einstein, which is coming from Salesforce platform. There are a lot of conversational AI coming in. And Microsoft, we all know how much it has invested in Gen AI. And the next part is the BI part. I don't know why today everybody is talking about AI, but nobody is talking about BI. The Gen BI is the next biggest bet for B2B, right? What is Gen BI? Gen AI, we all know, business intelligence, right? Because data monetization is something which is a known topic, which is a beaten topic. That's where Gen BI is really going to adopt to the next league of things. And thanks to the hyperscalers and thanks to the data industry, right, which has brought in. So please, if you can take away this, Gen BI is going to be an important aspect. And I'm pretty sure Oracle would be investing a lot in Gen BI because Oracle has been one of the pioneer in business intelligence, right, and data warehousing. So Gen BI is another biggest bet, which I would strongly recommend you to at least start investing your time and efforts in learning, mainly keeping customer experience at the center. So with that, I would take few questions, and I'm available here. We can take offline if you have any more questions. So those are the things I just wanted to share. So I got a time's up alert here. I have to stop.
Yes, we have time for Q&A. Yes, please.
My name is Avinash. I come from Atkins Realis, and I have a question around like AI. We're talking a lot about AI, and it gives us actionable insights, okay, which we can act upon, right? But if something goes wrong with those insights, right, who's to make it accountable? But that's the bigger question, right? Because you know the Google story. Gemini did something wrong and they lost 90 billions in the market capitalization, right? There's a huge. So with AI, I think also comes kind of accountability with that, right? How to address that?
The bias, right? See, typically, see, from an enterprise stand, that's why I spoke about B2B, right? It's all B2C. The loss is minimal, and Google, of course, that's why the Bard was closed, and you have Gemini. Google rebranded the Gemini, if you know the complete story, as you rightly mentioned. See, number one, the bias. Number two, explainability. The biggest challenge in AI today is explainability, right? So that's why I spoke about Gen BI a lot. I didn't speak about Gen AI. If I had to take a decision based on Gen AI, explainability is one big issue that we all face, right? Because the amount of information, data that we have, the multimodal challenges that we have in the explainability, the industry is yet to sort. So answer to your question is we have to be a little conservative there. If from an enterprise standpoint, I think that's where the insights play an important role. Insights is all about how do you handle with the unknowns, right? Knowing the knowns, knowing the unknowns, unknowns of the unknowns. Unknowns of the unknowns is still an area to solve. But unknowns of the knowns is something where you can maximize the predictability, right? Explainability is still a challenge. I don't have an answer. Industry itself is struggling. So that's the piece I would like to give you. Maybe we can take it there. I can give you some examples, what has happened from an enterprise standpoint. Your good name? Avinash. Okay.
Is there any further Q&A? Can we have a mic, please?
It's there.
Hi, thank you so much that you explained that 360 degree of conversational AI, right? So, just a brief that I'm representing Wells Fargo as Vice President, Corporate Investment Banking. While we're talking about conversational AI nowadays, most of the industry actually experiencing good and bad of that, right? Sometimes, if you see, the prediction which is actually produced by conversational AI or the recommendation given by the conversational AI sometimes is not targeted per customer ask, and sometimes it is half-baked information. To overcome such kind of edge cases, do you have any experience or exposure where exactly we can actually cover up these edge cases after using the conversation AI?
So, not foolproof, to be honest. I don't want to give a false answer.
Okay.
So it's not a foolproof. We don't have a foolproof solution from my experience. I think the only thing, the learnability is one which we are trying to track. And the dichotomy is very simple. If I want to be more personalized, Okay, let's go to the basics. Why I want conversational AI? Conversational AI is number one, to bring in economy of scope in the type of questions, and second, I can scale to number of users, and I can standardize as much as question from a learnability standpoint where I can predict, right? So moment I want to go to personalization, right? All my fundamental assumptions of economy of scale, economy of scope, and standardization will go for a toss because personalization is very costly, and you know it, how difficult is personalization. So how are we going to balance these two ambiguities together, right? That is a problem we need to solve it together. I don't want to give a false answer, number one. Number two, the only way we can solve is, right, in ensuring that the training data sets is quite huge. And second is learnability. And of course, explainability, we have way far to go. We are not yet there from, at least in the way we, in BFSI too, right? Because you are the one who are quite advanced. Wells Fargo is the one which is quite advanced in the way you run the conversational AI and also in prediction aspects, right? Because I've been following you both from GCC and also from whole global aspect. I think way to go. The way we would like to solve our problem is increase as much as training possible and the learnability possible from increasing the model and slowly evolve over the multi-model, right? Let's not have homogenized model because that's not going to help us in predicting what types of questions we are going to get from the conversational AI standpoint. And partnership with some conversational AI companies, right? Of course, we are exploring many partnership with many such companies in the market to understand how they are going to leverage and what are the challenges they are facing. Because everything we can't do ourselves, right? So we believe in heterogeneity, and homogeneity is a gone case, and I don't want to do everything myself, right? Let's have that partnership ecosystem. That's the process I would like to take. And
Sure, thank you.
So if we have any further Q&A, requesting you all to please encourage it in the networking break. So thanks a lot, Mr. Ganesh Mahadevan, for sharing your thoughts on optimizing customer experience through 360-degree digital transformation. To do the honors, I request Mr. Yashwant Kumar, Group President of Customer Loyalty and Analytics, Landmark Group, to please join us on the dais.
how are you?